Hey Slayers, what's up? It is your girl Tiana, aka the Swag Slayer, creator of swagslayer.com, coming to you live today with the Swag Slayer Talk with my lovely co-host Rhonda from the Pink Diva Studios and our special guest James from at Join Flipped on IG. As you guys know and have been anticipating this lovely day where we get to hear from James, the creative genius and CEO behind Flyp. Let me tell you just a little bit about him before we jump in today. So he started with a reselling company at age 14. So this has been a passion of his for a very long time. He also was able to secure seed money through the Theo Fellowship to be able to continue on with his new company, Sell. He took that and was able to partner with another reselling platform that IPO'd at over $1 billion, only to be named the 30 under 30 for Forbes, and is now venturing off into Flyp as the CEO with his partner, Danny. Was that about correct, James?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit how you and your partner, who you've been working with about 9 years now, came to the conclusion that Flyp would be a great idea to fill a need in the resale community.
Yes. So I think Danny's watching right now. I kind of
he is.
I just knew that the team is watching us, so that makes me nervous. So Danny and I have been, as you mentioned, we built one of the early apps. I see many familiar names, so hi to everybody. And this is Danny being supportive. All right. So we've been trying to help people sell their stuff. Is there echo? Am I just double checking?
Yes, I did hear it, but I think it has stopped now.
All right, perfect. Just double checking. Awesome. So Danny and I have been helping people sell their stuff one way or another for the last 9 years, right? We first built an app for people to buy and sell used goods back in 2012, before it was cool. Now it's no longer cool. There's so many apps now to buy and sell, but we did that, and we again, after growing it, we worked at Mercari, which is where we really built a much bigger marketplace and got the chance to really help many resellers and many people sell their stuff. But after spending about 8 years in the market at that point, we have learned two main things, kind of two little learnings. The first one is, despite all these easy apps, despite all these great platforms to sell stuff, most people are not and will not sell their stuff. This is the reality. If you're a reseller watching this, you certainly resell, but your family doesn't. Your friends don't. This is why you're known as the reseller, right? Because you do it and others don't. And so we were always obsessed with helping everybody sell their stuff and so on. But we learned that that's simply not happening. The apps are as easy as they could get. They're as simple. That's it. We can't do any more. And it's still, people are not selling their stuff. So that's kind of a learning that was a little bit of a shock to us after years trying to achieve that. We're like, okay, 90% of people are not selling. The other insight was there's this amazing community of resellers. This is a group of people that everyone here is super familiar with. This is it. This is the community. But this community is not, most people out there don't know about it. Right. Most people don't know it's a thing. Most people don't know how big it's becoming. Most people don't know what these people are actually doing and why they're doing it. It's highly underrated, under the radar. No one's talking about it. Of course, if you are on Instagram and on Facebook with the reseller community, you think this is the entire world. This is your whole feed, right? But in reality, right, most people don't understand that. And so we discovered that it's very interesting. On one hand, you have people who have a lot of stuff. They want to get rid of it. They want to earn money for it, but they don't want to do any of the work, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't be sellers. Most people are not plumbers. They don't fix their own plumbing. Most people are not doctors. They don't cure themselves. And most people aren't resellers. They don't sell their stuff. And then there's a community of resellers who have all the skills, and they want to put in the time. They have the passion and the will, but they don't have the stuff to sell. They need stuff. They need the things to resell. So they, spending hours sourcing and so on and so forth, only to find a few good finds to brag about on Instagram. And the reality is, all the good stuff, no shame in that, by the way, all the good stuff is in people's closets.
Yes.
It's not at Goodwill. It's not in a mystery box. Certainly not in a mystery box. It's not in a liquidation pallet. It's in people's closets. And we figured that we can bridge the gap, you know. And so Danny and I decided, let's just build a platform that allows resellers to source directly from people's closets, and allow the public to leverage the skills and the services that resellers have, and allow resellers to truly, you know, be able to build a sustainable business with inventory that keeps coming back, and kind of you know, just bring about the future of this market.
Yes. And I agree. And that's why I was like so excited when I saw this. Like it popped up like somewhere, you know, I'm Googling reselling stuff and it popped up and I was like, oh, what's this? And I was like, what? I have to be a part of this. And of course, like, as you know, and many of the Slayers here watching know, I saved up several $100s to buy an Apple product because I'm an Android girl for life, because I was like, I want to be on the ground floor of Flyp because I really believe in what they're doing. And I think this is a great concept because some of us don't have time to go out. We have families. So in order to be able to select the items off the app, because there's not a mystery box, you know exactly what you're getting, have them delivered to you, and then you as the expert run all the comps, take all the pictures, ship them all out, which you would love to do anyway. I was like, yeah, I have to be a part of this. Sign me up. Where do I sign my name? On the dotted line. So I love that you and Danny, your partner, saw a gap in the reseller market. You saw that need and you took the time to fill that need by creating this platform to connect pro sellers, as you call them, with clients that have things at home, because it is true. We have closets full of awesome stuff, but we don't always know where to take it or what to do with it. So it just sits in the closet. So now they have a place to be able to send that, knowing that it'll be taken care of, knowing it'll go to a good home, and they're still able to make some money off of it. And the pro seller is still able to sustain an income to support their family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I know Rhonda had a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to bounce off of something that you said as far as that people have stuff in their closets. I mean, this is just like one of the first things that when people are interested in reselling, that I say, and I'm sure a lot of other resellers say the same thing: start in your closet. Because I started in my closet. You know, I had bags and bags and bags of things. So that's how I started reselling. The money, you have money hanging in your closet around your home and things. So I thought that was a very good point that you made about how people have money really basically in their closets, but they don't want to sell that. So creating this company is genius, because that allows the consumer to come to you and a pro seller to sell their things where they can just go on about their business, you know. And that's for a lot of busy people, 9-to-5ers, moms, you know, whomever that don't have the time or aren't even interested in reselling. This is perfect platform. Now, of course, I must throw in that I still have an Android and I'm still waiting for that.
We're on it. We're on it. Rhonda, I heard it. Rhonda always makes the point that she has an Android and she's waiting for it. And we're on it. We hired our Android engineer a month ago. We're on it for Rhonda. The Android version is coming.
Oh, that's
and
so funny. Thanks,
you know, on what you mentioned. So first of all, again, I think Danny and I get a lot of the credit. We take all the photos. They put us in the articles. But again, there's an actual team behind this. They're watching. You got it. That one is for you. They're again, there's an amazing team really handling everything that's happening in the background. So props to them. They're also resellers, and
great.
And they keep this thing floating. So I wanna touch on so who uses this? Why this? And so it's not just for people who are busy. If you think about it, the way sourcing happens, sourcing is kind of a very important part of reselling. And the way it happens today, it has this kind of luck element to it. There's this, you feel like you show up to the Goodwill, maybe you'll find something, maybe you won't. And, there's a reason when people brag about what they found at Goodwill, they just show one thing or two things, right? It's not like people are going in and picking up 50 amazing items coming back home, right? And this is getting more challenging because there's more resellers. So you're going to a Goodwill and you're like, I smell that another reseller was here and they took all the good stuff, right? And sometimes you see them, and that becomes vicious. Now, the reality is that is great. That has been a great way for people to source. But most of the good stuff is in the big cities, is in the great cities, is in New York, is in San Francisco, is in LA, and most resellers don't live there. And what we are doing with Flyp by having this stuff arrive at your door is you could be a reseller in the middle of Iowa and then be able to source inventory directly from San Francisco, directly from Manhattan. So, and that is a very important thing, because you no longer have to live very close to a Goodwill. I actually, yes, exactly. No digging through questionable bins. So I guess it's Crystal shared that. So totally, and it's also I've heard from a couple resellers who moved. They moved their house finally because now they can afford to live farther than 5 miles from a Goodwill, right? Because they don't need to go to Goodwill anymore. And this even brings me to, again, another interesting point about Flyp and about our mission really and why we're doing this. Why is this stuff going to Goodwill anyway? Everyone is under this impression that Goodwill, you're donating your stuff. You're not donating your stuff. People who need this stuff are not getting this. You're not giving it out. Goodwill is a for-profit. They resell. Great. By the way, I'm very thankful for any company that had any kind of impact on the reseller community, and Goodwill was one of them, certainly. But the reality is, instead of having Goodwill process hundreds of millions of dollars of stuff as a for-profit company, or the Real doing it, or ThreadUp processing this stuff, why don't resellers process this stuff? Why don't we give this stuff to resellers? If you really want to help people, if you really want to empower people, give your stuff to resellers. You'll empower people that they're right there. They're independent, small businesses, entrepreneurs trying to make it while creating some sustainability and making money for you. Why not? So again, this is also why I think Flyp is useful for people who are living in other states, and also useful for people who used to donate it to just a multi-million-dollar company versus individuals.
Yes, and I agree, because it does help, because as a reseller, you're technically a small business owner. And so to be able to support a small business owner with as simple as putting your items on Flyp and then shipping it to them and letting them, do the part that they love doing, so you don't have to, really is a cycle. So it is a sustainability for our planet, but it's also sustainability for other households, throughout the United States. And that is the circle of life, if you want to call it, where you're saving the planet, but you're also making it able for someone to sustain their household, feed themselves, keep their lights on, keep the roof over their head with something they're passionate about doing already.
Exactly.
So I know that Rhonda had a specific question for you. What was that, Rhonda? We're trying to stay on track, because if you watched us before, James, we are all over the place.
No problem.
Well, I've already asked about Android, so I'm going to let that go. Danny made me feel good about it. It was coming soon. So thank you, Danny.
Awesome.
But my question is that, the resale community, or reselling as a whole, is growing like by leaps and bounds on a daily basis.
Yes.
So where do you see Flyp mixing in with this? I mean, where do you see Flyp in the upcoming year or so?
Yeah, And it's we Flyp is practically recent. As a team, we've been working on this problem for a long time, helping people sell. But Flyp itself is less than a year old. It turns a year old as a product live in Feb. And so like in I guess in a couple of weeks or so. And so what we have achieved in this year is we have proven to ourselves and to the community and to the world that resellers are perfectly good candidates to process tens of thousands of items and resell them and create economic value out of it. We proved that it worked, and we knew that many resellers now use it on a daily basis. It's working. So proving that model is something that we were able to achieve to a huge degree. Now, what we're looking forward to do in this coming year is let's just take that to the next level. Let's make sure that we can provide resellers with all sorts of sourcing requirements that they need. Consignment is great, and it's been doing really well. Again, you get $0 upfront inventory, so you can literally start from zero. But we've also seen people who don't necessarily want to consign all the time, or maybe they want to consign for expensive items only, but don't want to do commission splits on smaller value items. And we totally get it. And so one of the things we want to expand into is allowing resellers to purchase inventory upfront if they wanted to. Okay, Danny says Flyp turns 1 on Feb 12th. All right, thank you, Danny. But we want to allow resellers to source in a new way, which is to be able to make a buyout offer, to be able to own the inventory upfront and then sell it on their own terms, sell it on their own pace. That is just one more option for those who perhaps don't necessarily want to consign. Again, consignment is great. We totally enabled a new way of doing it, but I think the old way of paying upfront works. It doesn't work when you're not getting what you want. Mystery box. You don't know what you're buying. It doesn't work then. It doesn't work when you have to work 6 hours to get it. But if you're browsing it and you're seeing exactly what you're getting, and you can make a calculation based on comps and purchase it to resell it, that could be great for you and for the client. So for example, expanding into something like that is going to be very important. Now, the reseller community is growing a lot. It's going to keep growing. Again, the world is going to notice. It's already noticing. Again, Flyp's resellers have already been featured on all the cool magazines out there with the great stuff that they're doing. And so people are already, there's resellers. Interesting. So, and again, I think Forbes called Flyp the Airbnb of consignment, which is very funny because it's interesting, right? Like, who would have thought that people can host? Who would have thought that people can become hotels? Who would have thought so on and so forth? And I think with Flyp, it's becoming clearer. And so if you ask me what is next for Flyp, I would say, so Flyp is whatever the reseller community decides to make out of it, right? And what we do together, what we build for one another. And so what I'm seeing is kind of this is an interesting movement for decentralization, for moving from giving everything to a very big centralized company to giving it to more decentralized individuals. The joke is, Flyp is the Bitcoin of retail.
Yes.
But again, and when I say Flyp, I'm not talking about the company. I'm not talking about the app, the platform. We're just a medium. We're a medium. It's the resellers. It's the community. It's the people who have stuff working with the people who can sell it. That model is what matters. And so that is where we're headed. And we're moving from experiment level to let's take this to the next phase level, so to speak. And so one of these things are adding buyouts and many other cool stuff, including, by the way, today, if you're already on Flyp, It's a big update that just went live. It's right now happening right now as we speak. We're releasing matching, which is
Yes.
a new way for people to win lots on Flyp in an easier way. Instead of you having to apply for lots and kind of compete with other resellers, we have a matching system. You apply to the lots that you like. You only get lots that you want, right? You never get mystery. No mystery here, all right? You apply to the lots you want, and you're matched with the ones that is best for you, and it's all based on your performance. So if you are selling really well on Flyp, you will get more lots and you'll get better lots. And even if you're new, you no longer have to work very hard to get your first lot. It used to be a bit challenging. You're new, you come here, there's hundreds of resellers already established, and you just want your first lot. Now we kind of make it easier for you to win your first few lots. So we're trying to make winning lots on Flyp, consignment level, fairer, easier, faster. We want to help resellers who need help improving their performance, and we want to reward those who actually deliver. Because we want this to be motivating. Go ahead, please.
Oh, now this is just a personal question for me, because I know last time when we were on Zoom, when I was on Zoom with you, that I asked you about plus sizes. Have you guys stepped up your plus size game as far as the lots are concerned?
So it's very interesting, right? We have two jobs kind of at Flyp, right? We have to build stuff for resellers and to kind of help resellers, and we have to also acquire, basically do the sourcing, right? We do the sourcing, right, and then resource it to all the other resellers. And so we haven't been actively pursuing particular types of items yet, because we've been just putting all our efforts into the reseller side, just trying to make the system work better for resellers. We still get what we get, so we acquire a lot of people and we get what we get, and we kind of go through it and we accept certain things, again, based on brand and demand. But we haven't completely gone and said, let's just get a lot of that. We do it occasionally, but one of the things we did about plus sizes is, I think we did, there was a blog we collaborated on about plus size consignment. So we put out a piece out there to try and attract people who want to do plus size consignment. So even though we're not completely doing it, we're already starting to put the word out there, letting people know that you can do plus size consignment on Flyp. Again, it is a niche. Right. It is a niche. It's always going to be
niche. It's mine.
Yeah, but it's growing. It's growing.
It's mine. That's something that I would be really interested in, because that's all I sell are plus sizes. So of course, if I came to Flyp, that's what I would be seeking, are plus sizes. So I hope that you guys really get into that, because that's a big market. It's big business, and I think you guys,
And look, Rhonda, this is believe me, we get requests from many resellers who are in niches that other resellers hear about, and they're like, I don't do that. And and that's the beauty of the reseller community, right? Yes. Each one specializes in a niche. We have people who like certain items that others would never resell. Some people only do this, some people only do that. And our job is evolving into being able to cater to those different ones. And we're kind of evolving and growing our team and adding people so we can focus more on merchandising, finding the right things, attracting the right items. Naturally, we want the things that are most popular, but then again, look, we're gonna do a lot of stuff there. So many cool things. I'm
just gonna come work for Flyp to help y'all get these plus sizes.
Oh my God!
Do that, Rhonda. But we have a question from consignment.
I'm just gonna go to work for Flyp.
So Consignment Chats is asking, so for those who already are running a consignment model, it seems like this would be a consignor drop off.
So I'm curious, what does it exactly mean? So is that about Flyp in particular, or consignment outside of Flyp? I couldn't catch that.
I think that she's meaning just like Flyp, because I believe Consignment Chats, her whole resale is just consignment. She doesn't do anything else. So I guess she's trying to liken it to her local consignment store, where she would technically be the store, and
Exactly.
the client would be the one bringing her the items.
Absolutely.
And then she lists and sell them.
Perfect. And some of the earliest resellers on Flyp were local consignment stores. Actually, we launched Flyp in Feb of 2020. A month later, the world was a different place, and we had many places that had ran consignment for years, shut down, zero, nothing. And many of them, just in time, were the first resellers on Flyp, the first pro sellers. Some of them are some of the biggest resellers today. And it's all a matter of how you see it. So if you see Poshmark or eBay or Mercari as a company that is destroying local stores, that you might see Flyp as a company that could be hurting consignment stores. But if you see it as a way that provides an opportunity to a wider market, then you will see it as a big opportunity. So what we have seen is that many local consignment stores, small consignment stores, have been sourcing items that they are not capable of getting locally, or doing it at a rate that is incredibly higher and faster. To give you an example, we have a small consignment person does consignment services, has already made like 25K through Flyp. Consigning luxury items. She's really good at it. She's doing it, and that's great. So I would say embrace this. I think people who will go to a local store will still want to go to a local store. I just think instead of limiting the outcome for these small location-based places and paying rents and paying things that come with that, you could source from these big cities, from these great places. So I think it's much more potential than a threat. Certainly, and I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I've seen the consignment people coming on Flyp, and we're very happy with them. They're actually some of the best people doing it because they've been doing it for a long time. And with the matching system, here's the beautiful thing with the matching system: if you're doing well, if you're selling, and if you're delivering to your customers, you are just gonna keep getting better and getting better items and more items. So it becomes better. So I hope that answers the question. If there's any follow-up on that, I would love to tackle it. But for sure, we're championing these resellers. I think of all the bed and breakfasts that just completely revolutionized their businesses by listing themselves on Airbnb. We hope to be that for existing consignment stores as well as resellers at home.
Yes, and I think that is a great point, that we all can participate, no matter what our status or where we are, in this great platform to, again, bring, the clothing out of other people's homes so it doesn't end up in a landfill or just tossed to the side, so they can declutter, and then we can still have that income. What I was going to point out I was so excited when I got my email about the matching, because I'm the pro seller. So I thought it was so cool. Like, for the relationships you've already built with people, they can still message you or pick you as their pro seller if they're comfortable with you and they like you. So it doesn't eliminate the relationships you've already built. It just helps grow new relationships.
Exactly. And that's a very important point. So consignment is about relationships completely. It's about finding a person that you trust, that just does the job, and like you get him, you get her, you understand how it goes, and you want to support them too. So today, if you work, let's say you get matched with your first pro seller or your second or your third, and you like working with one of them, you can invite them to apply to your items, and they will be prioritized. So if you want them to take your stuff, you can give it to them. And that is very important for both the clients, which are the people who have stuff to sell, and the pro sellers, the resellers, because the resellers want to do really well so that they keep getting stuff and from the same customer, especially if it's a valuable customer. And clients, frankly, don't want to deal with unlimited amount of resellers. They want to find a few good ones, maybe just one, maybe two, maybe three, and then work with them. So I think naturally that we had to add that feature in the matching system.
And I think that was so smart that you put that in place, so those relationships that have been built can stay in place. And another cool thing, which is the community, you're still including us as always, that there's a Facebook group for the pro sellers, because sometimes with the new app, as things change and evolve, especially with me trying to always figure out technology, I need to ask somebody and be like, where do I find this again? And so being able to participate in the Facebook group really helps, because there's somebody always there who's like, yeah, I know how to do that, or someone who can answer your question if you have questions. So keeping us, in a communication, in a group, in a private setting, because it is a private Facebook group for the pro sellers, helps, us build confidence as well and become a better pro seller on Flyp. Because even as a reseller, if you're new to consignment, there are questions and there are some little things that you'll come up against that you're not used to. So to be able to piggyback off somebody who has that experience to help you grow and be better and better at consignment, I think is a phenomenal thing. And they send that to you in an email, right? Once you apply to be the pro seller. I think that's how I got mine.
Yes. And to iterate on this, when you are accepted as a pro seller on Flyp after you apply, you are invited to the pro seller Facebook group, which is for accepted pro sellers only. So it's vetted, really cool people, hundreds of people at this point, and we kind of build in public. We don't surprise people. We build in public in the sense that almost everyone in the Facebook group knew that matching was coming weeks and months before it was coming. And now I and the team always use the Facebook group to ask questions like, how would you feel about buying out lots? And then you get 40 people just kind of sharing their feedback, and we have debates and we go back and forth. So we're building in public. We don't just impose features. We just think with the community, we ask questions, and we build based on that. And so it's a very open place. We try to be as communicative as possible. We're a startup. We're moving fast. We're changing fast. We're not yet at the point where the product is kind of, this is it, and that's how it's going to look like forever. And so we need to be very communicative. We need to make sure to take steps that at least have the backing of the majority of our community. I mean, we're building it for the resellers and the community. And so we love that part, and honestly it makes our job much easier to do it with the customer instead of guessing. Businesses are not good at guessing what their customers want.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I love that it grows and it moves along with the community, because you've built it for the community. So to be able to tap in and connect and hear their opinions and their voices, and then the community, especially myself, like we're more in tune with it, like faithful to it, love it, because we're part of it. It's not just being built off to the side and say, here you go, figure it out. Like we're growing with it. So I love that you and Danny and your team have decided that that's the way you want to build your company.
Absolutely.
So Slayers, if you have any questions for James, specific to James, his partner Danny, his team, or Flyp, do not hesitate to type them in to the live chat box. Of course, if you want to become part of Flyp and be a pro seller, the link is in the description below. I know Rhonda and I have a few questions that aren't about Flyp, but just about you, James, to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
So I think I'll ask the first one. We have them typed up. It says, what is the biggest factor that has helped you be successful, James? Since you have been successful, the biggest factor that's helped you be successful for so long.
Look, it's so fun. We don't really stop and think, oh, did we succeed? Yes, it looks like we succeeded. Great, let's party. It's fun. One of the things that Danny and I never do is like just go party and celebrate. Again, the reason is because do you ever really succeed? Do you ever like get there? You really don't. It's just I would say one of the things that made us do a lot of what we did and last enough to see it come to fruition is that we we loved what we do more and more as we did it. To be very honest and clear, this is not some like crazy we always paint people who work on something very hard or something like they're crazy, they're very interested, they're like these artists, whatever bullshit. It's not. We started off helping people flip their trash. We started seeing that more and more people like it. We started seeing amazing people who are becoming resellers, and these resellers have great stories. They are moms, they are small businesses, they're taking care of themselves and their families. Okay, now this adds much more meaning. All right, sustainability is mostly a lot of bullshit out there. These people are not playing around. They're actually creating sustainability, not just doing it with replacing plastic straws with paper straws. That is great. Yeah, do what you like. But I think these people are actually making sustainability that pays, resellers. And so we fell in love more and more with it to the point where we actually think it's very cool to spend a lot of time of our lives building this. So we keep doing it. And regardless of what the result is, we'll likely keep doing this. So I would say finding meaning in what you do is and that is something that resellers can teach us before us teaching resellers. I mean, most resellers do this because of what it brings to them, the meaning it brings to them. This is by no means an easy job. It's not the sexiest job to say that you do with your friends. It's most people don't get it, but they do it because they get meaning out of it. They feel good. They feel like they're impactful, and it's the same thing. I think any reseller knows exactly what we think keeps us going. Success is a matter of how you interpret it, right? Do you need someone to say you succeeded to feel like you succeeded? Maybe. Do you need to be recognized? Maybe. But at the end of the day, it's whether you keep doing it.
Yes.
And so that's kind of our experience.
Nice. I love to hear that because I was sharing with Rhonda, because usually when we have a guest on the show, we're like, oh, send over a bio, but we just Googled it and we read through it. And you and I have talked before, James, and I told Rhonda, I said, at no point, and this is why I love James, at no point in my mind did I ever think he was the CEO of Flyp. Did I ever think he had done all these amazing things that, read on your resume? I was just like, here's a cool dude making a difference in the world. Let's partner and get it done, And so the more I read about like all your accomplishments and the things that, we say is success, I thought, wow, I like that he's just regular, normal, cool dude, wanting to make a difference in the world, wanting to connect and build real relationships, because you don't always get that when you come across people who have all these things that say they're this great person. So I appreciate that about you. And it makes me even, more excited about the things you're doing, because you really are doing them for the people and not maybe for the clout and all that, paparazzi and all that other fun stuff. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate that about you. And I'm sure Danny is the same way. I mean, you guys have been working together since you were children, building a better world, building a better place to help people do the things that they want to do, which is declutter their house. And then the other people who want to sell, their stuff. So I really appreciate that. And I want to say thank you. And then my next question was my follow-up question before Rhonda gets to the other questions is, how did you and Danny really connect to be working together this long?
Yeah, I mean, that is, we first, we didn't start immediately working on our first company, the marketplace at the beginning. I think we met at a hackathon, which is like a competition for programmers to build something, and you had to kind of build a team in like a few hours. And I saw, I looked for the first guy who had glasses on, and seemed like they knew what they're doing, had a big laptop, and I must have seen Danny, one way or another, we worked together on that day, and we kind of we built a. I remember it was like a little competition. So you like come up with an idea, you build it, and again, you're not supposed to really continue building it after. It's just like kind of a fun experiment over 2-3 days. And I think we built a company that allowed people to hire local freelancers back in like 2010 or 11, something like that. And so it was like, again, not very far from what we kind of doing now in a sense, but it was had nothing to do with resellers. And I think we enjoyed what we did. We discovered that we're both just people who get bored very quickly and need to be doing stuff, and we don't really care about, we like cool stuff. We like to build more than we like to make money. We like to make money as far as just making money to be left to our devices to do stuff, right? Not more beyond that. And so it made sense for us to start working together. And we worked on projects. And one day we were like, all right, we sell, we buy electronics, dude alert. And of course we bought and sold electronics, and that's how we got into reseller community. And we're like, okay, this Craigslist thing is not the future. And Steve Jobs didn't make the iPhone for us to deal with that. And let's just do something. And of course we were just messing around. We had no clue what we were doing. We just wanted to build something that worked better, and things led to here. It has a lot of luck in it, but certainly also I would say that it's no coincidence that we met at a place where people go to mess around and find people and build things and kind of hack stuff together. So I do think there is luck to meeting someone that you can actually build a company with and keep doing it for 9 years. But also there's also an element of intentionality in going in the first place to somewhere where you're likely to stumble upon such opportunities. And so that is kind of the story of how we initially got started.
And I think that's
amazing. I think that's true. I'm sorry. I think that's true because you know what? A lot of times that we just have to be intentional. We have to position ourselves in places in order for things to happen. And I think that is amazing. I love that you guys, connected like that you've worked together, that you've built so many things, which leads me to this question because, I'm the girl to get to the meat and potatoes. Mm-hmm. I actually wanted to know, as we go along through life, we make mistakes and we look at those mistakes as teachable moments. At least I do. So what do you think is the mistake that you've made that you've learned from or build upon?
Everything is kind of a mistake, really. I'll give you, so here's one thing that I was actually talking to Danny about a few days ago. We were just talking about a few things, and then it popped up the idea that there are no mistakes, not in the sense that you can't do wrong things. The wrong things is the default. By default, we do wrong things. We get out of our way to do the right things. But it's only a mistake in the moment you do it. So the moment you do it, you screw it up, and you're like, "Damn it, that's a mistake. I should not have done that. It screwed me over. I'm in a worse place because I did it." But that is a very limited perspective, because what looks like a mistake today can very well be an immensely valuable lesson. Not learning. I think learning is overrated. Most of us don't really learn much. Look, she's like, what? I learn a lot. I think that mistakes change our lives completely. They just send us down a completely different path, a completely different storyline that ends up being very interesting. When we built our first company, the marketplace, naturally, we didn't have millions of dollars to build what Poshmark and Mercari and Lego did with hundreds of millions. One could look at that as like, wow, we were failing. We were not making it work. It wasn't really becoming the winner. But it led us to go to Mercari because they saw we did the cool work as a small team. And then when we went to Mercari, we discovered this whole reality at a larger scale. And then because we did that, we were able to build Flyp. So it all started with a certain failure, certainly. And so it's only a failure now. In retrospect, it's just another, fork in the road where you had to go down another path, and in many times you're very thankful for it. So you don't want to hate something because it can be good for you, and you don't want to also be fascinated with something that happens to you. Be very happy with it because it can also be bad for you. So
the story of Post-it notes is the same story you're basically telling. There is no such thing as failure if you keep moving forward, because the creators of Post-it notes were trying to make the world's strongest glue. And as you know, it is not the world's strongest glue, but look what they came up with that we still use today. So
right.
Yeah. And again,
Exactly.
mistakes, one of the things again about mistakes, I was just also having this conversation is regarding worrying. We don't really have a problem with the mistake. We have a problem worrying about the mistakes we're about to make, right? So that we're constantly walking around thinking, all right, I'm doing this and I'll probably do it wrong, and then this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna happen, and then this is gonna break, and I'm gonna be like this. And so we are constantly in a state of worrying. And what I would say about worrying is again, because that's the real annoying part about mistakes, is the worrying that happens because of them. And I think worrying is important, but I also think that you want to worry only to the degree that it informs you to do something that you ought to do. Beyond that, don't worry, don't overdo it. Just take the lesson.
I definitely agree with that.
Take the lesson from this anxiety. Know that you have to look there because your body's telling you your word for a good reason, but don't live it. Don't live the moment. Don't spend hours in that mood. So again, easier said than done. Applies to me, applies to everyone. But
Right.
but it's also similar.
Yeah, it is. I mean, James, to be honest, I'm just too old to do all that worrying, honey. But I just think that mistakes for me, at least. I mean, I think that I've had enough in my younger years, of course. But now when I make them, I think that I just kind of learn, but I just keep going. I don't just let that particular mistake stop me. I just keep going on and moving on and know that, okay, well, I made that mistake. So now if I have to pivot or whatever I have to do, but just to keep going, because the point for me is never stop. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep pushing and keep it going. So that's how I see that. But now if someone came to you right now and said, James, I want to be an entrepreneur. How can I do this? What do I need to do? What is the first thing I need to do to become an entrepreneur? What advice would you give them?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so funny. I think everybody becomes an entrepreneur for the wrong reason. I completely
that's
believe
interesting.
that. I think that everybody wants to become an entrepreneur for the wrong reason, because what you think it is and what it is are completely different things. There's no glory being an entrepreneur, zero glory whatsoever. It's very unglamorous execution. It's very, you might get some recognition that other people can think, you're very cool. You must be spending all your day being cool. But that's completely untrue. You're spending your day doing the most uncool things ever. So I would talk to the person and kind of try and understand whether they're the kind of person who is truly, has the capacity to just want to deal with unglamorous work. So are you romantically stumbling into this? Are you doing it because you assume that you're somehow going to do less work? Are you doing it because you think you're somehow going to become popular, or you're going to become like cool? or why are you doing this, right? So, and but the contradiction here is most people want to do it for one of these reasons, and it's not a problem. It's good to start to want to be an entrepreneur for the wrong reason. It's not a problem. I think the cool thing about entrepreneurship is, whether you started for the right reason or not, it's gonna filter itself out. If you want to do it, you'll keep doing it despite how hard it is. And if you find that this is not yours, entrepreneurship is designed to fail, so you can immediately fail and be out of it and leave. And you can do it again. And you can leave, no problem. No shame in it. Most entrepreneurs fail, so it's pretty easy to get in and get out. So long as you don't take personal debt. Don't take personal debt to, not a lot of it, at least. Try to be very smart in your investments. Don't think you're going to be Warren Buffett. Always good ideas. Again, but I would say I would ask them why they're doing it. Try and just make sure that the motivation is there, and then entrepreneurs figure it out. I think no one taught me, and if they did, I wouldn't listen. I want to be an entrepreneur. I think I know what I'm doing. That's naturally what an entrepreneur thinks.
Right.
An entrepreneur thinks they know what they're doing. They're not deciding to do this because they have to pretend that they're gonna listen. They have to pretend that they're gonna take into consideration. And sometimes they do, but most of the times they're not really listening. They're just thinking what they want to do. And that's completely fine, especially at the beginning. Eventually, they get kind of taught and they start realizing that this is a learning process. This never ends. This is hard. This is completely not worth it unless you really are into this. So there's this beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur where I don't think it needs to be taught. I don't think advice matters because it doesn't matter. You're going to have to make the mistake. You never learn from someone else's mistake. That is very hard to learn from other people's mistakes because you think you know better, right? Naturally, most people do. It's okay. It's fine. It's unwise. Clearly unwise. You certainly don't know better most of the time. But it's this lack of wisdom that makes entrepreneurs do crazy things, like open an app where people give their stuff for free to other people. Hopefully they sell it to them. Or build a website where people stay at strangers' houses at night. Great. Let's do it. It requires a certain level of unreasonable kind of expectations to do something. So I would give them very little advice at all.
Yeah, I believe, that's just really like reselling. When I first started, I have friends who were already reselling who, gave me a few pointers and things to look out for or whatever the case may be, maybe how to price things. But, I made my mistakes along the way too. And, again, I learned from those mistakes not to do that, but it didn't, stop me. Here I am. I'm still doing that thing. But I think that the advice, I try to be honest with my advice when someone wants to resell. I'm just like, well, honey, don't expect to be a millionaire overnight. When you sell those 5 items, you're falling down the rabbit hole. Now you're all excited. Now you want to sell more and more and more and more and more, but don't think that you're going to have a windfall overnight, reselling, because that's just not what that is.
And I absolutely agree. And for resellers particularly, again, I think they have more to teach us than we have to teach them. But I think with reselling, and one of the things we're doing with Flyp, hopefully trying to achieve, is, allowing resellers to build on top of what they're doing, not just have to live day to day in the reselling business, trying to allow them to make progress in such a way that yesterday's progress makes today's progress a bit more valuable. And then today's progress makes tomorrow's progress a bit more valuable, instead of being completely missing. I got lucky. I went to Goodwill a year ago, and that was my best trip ever. And it's unclear how that is going to make me better tomorrow or after tomorrow or in a week or in 10 years. We want them to be able to build on something solid, something that is repetitive. And not everyone is going to be able to do that. Not everyone is supposed to anyway. But for those who do want it, we hope that we can be a place where people build up a business, fundamental, in a way that doesn't make them feel like they're working day to day, in the sense of figuring it out one day at a time. Even though, to a large degree, that's still going to be the reality, the feeling day to day. Even I run a company and I feel I run it day to day and things change every day. But there must be a feeling that what is being built today is going to be more valuable tomorrow, a bit more valuable after. That doesn't mean success every day, that at all. You could have one day like this, one day like that, but there must be something that is not being lost every time you do a lot of hard work. And so, so again, that is one thing we want to try and achieve with Flyp.
Awesome. Thank you so much, James. Rhonda, I just want to be sure I am looking at our list. Were those all of our questions?
I believe so. I
Okay.
You know, some we didn't really get to ask because he really already answered the questions that we had. So that cut that list down a lot. But yes, I'm really excited. Michelle said, I just joined up. I'm excited.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Michelle. I'm glad.
Yeah, and someone else in the chat earlier said they had signed up. I put it on the screen. There's so many comments here that I'm not sure
Welcome.
where it is. But yes, if you are interested in becoming a pro seller, if you are interested in becoming a pro seller and you have not yet, the link is in the description box below. It's also on my Instagram, Swagslayer Fashion, same name here on YouTube. Consignment Chats is saying thank you so much, James, for coming and giving such great
information. Everyone.
Yes.
I wanna thank everyone really who attended this. I think it's very cool, and I want to thank you, like Tiana, for really having this awesome show, and Rhonda for always being awesome and for always pushing us to build the Android version. And Tiana particularly, great show, and I know that making a show can be a super uneasy thing, especially when sometimes you have episodes and you're like thinking, all right, is everyone going to show up? Are they going to do it today? Are they going to do it tomorrow? Some days it's not the best. Other days everyone is here, and I think it takes effort and courage to kind of do that and continuously keeping at it. Sometimes it feels like, am I actually talking to many people? Am I talking to a little group of people? We felt the same way when we were building Flyp initially. Is anyone here? Is it in my mind? But that is kind of the cost of trying to do something. And I've seen your show get better and more popular, and it just, good things take time. So I really, congratulate you on all the cool people here that are participating, on having Rhonda here. And again, congrats on everything. And thank you everyone who joined.
Thank you, James. That means a lot because yes, when I started this show, it was a mess. My technology didn't work. I couldn't get my lighting. My computer would cut me off in the middle of a stream and leave my guests on the show still live. So yes, come a long way. We hope to keep coming further. So we appreciate for coming on the show, sharing Flyp. Like, I'm so excited about Flyp. We talk about it all the time here on the show, when we're not on the show, everywhere. So I'm so glad that you were able to come out. Congratulations to be mentioned in Forbes. Don't forget, if you want to hear from a pro seller, Crystal, from Brick Wall Shop will be here Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about how she is a pro seller on Flyp and how it is made a difference in her life. So don't forget to set a reminder for that right here on YouTube. It does stream also to Facebook. And then this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Clubhouse, myself, Brittany, and Brittany from All Bossed Up, and Terry from Evolving Always will be in Clubhouse talking about the topic, is okay to not be okay. So come and share, or just come and listen as we talk about the things, the hurdles that we come over and that we deal with, because I know you see us all the time on IG and YouTube and it looks like we have it all together, but we are human just like you. So we want to share our experiences and be there for you in your experiences. So that is in Clubhouse at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. time. And as always, we're here weekdays at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day, Monday through Friday, except Wednesday. We are here at 10:45 a.m. because I have to schedule the show around my child's lunch break. So thank you so much for coming.
Awesome.
I will talk to you tomorrow, Slayers, where we have Anessa from Anessa.Lee on Instagram. Bye.
Awesome. Take care. Bye. Bye.